Hi, I'm Kirk Schneider. I'm a psychologist, and I was invited to speak to you by Elliot Benjamin, a member of your group, the Indivisibles. And I much appreciate the time for us to connect together about what I see as a very important bridge building dialogue process that might help you all in terms of the tension I understand you're experiencing between those who ally with the Democrat candidate for president for 2024, whoever that might be, and those of you who ally with a third party candidate, whether No Labels or Cornel West, et cetera. Both allegiances attempting to do everything they can to keep Donald Trump out of office in 2024. So with that, I'd like to describe to you the dialogue process that I've been developing for over 15 years called the Experiential Democracy Dialogue. The Experiential Democracy Dialogue draws in part from my experience as a trained moderator for Braver Angels, which is a grassroots movement that's in all 50 states that brings self-identified liberals and conservatives together for living room style conversations, mainly group-oriented. But this experiential democracy dialogue is specifically a one-on-one approach, I would say a more intimate approach to helping people on either side to see each other more as full human beings rather than labels or stereotypes that we often get into because of our fear-based mentality toward the other. And by seeing each other more as human beings rather than labels or stereotypes, we enhance the likelihood of achieving some kind of common ground, or at least the conditions for further negotiation and common ground eventually. So it's a 6-phase model. The experiential democracy dialogue begins with the absolutely crucial step of adhering to the ground rules. Without going into the details of any of these steps, I do want to say that it's critical that you observe some videos if you can. If you're going to do this on your own, there are videos available at my YouTube channel called Core of Depth Healers. Read my book as background, The Depolarizing of America, a guidebook for social healing. But again, the first step is the ground rules. And the foundation of the ground rules is to come from a place, to the degree you can, of curiosity and openness, rather than presumption and imposing your view on the other. This is an attitude, an approach that we rarely take in our society, and that is precisely why so many of these kinds of conversations devolve so quickly, because we put each other in these fear-based reactivities that just spiral into more and more hardening of positions and fear, and lead often to devaluation, avoidance, sometimes even violence. So again, trying to bring your best self and coming from a place of genuine curiosity as opposed to presumption about the other and the other side. Also, really clearing a space for the other to have their say without interference. This is critical as we go along through these phases I'll describe. And finally, being as mindful as possible to limit the nonverbal cues that can be very negative and devaluing, like the rolling of the eyes if one partner experiences something critical in the other partner, or arching eyebrows, etc. So much we can convey, unfortunately, through those nonverbal cues that we need to be careful of. So, given that we have the dialogue set up, which is between those who strongly identify with the Democrat candidate, whoever that may be in 2024, and those who ally with a third-party candidate, we begin with the first phase of the dialogue, which is the visualization phase. And these early phases are very preparatory. They precede any kind of actual engagement on the issues between each partner. So we begin with each partner taking several minutes to observe as mindfully as possible thoughts, feelings, body sensations, images that come up as they even conceive of engaging with that partner sitting across from them in regard to the issue at hand. So what comes up immediately? What are your immediate reactions? And see if you can watch those just like you'd watch objects floating down a river. Noting them, getting more of a sense of what's operating on you as you approach this partner in dialogue, but without fixating on any one particular idea or feeling that comes up. Then we take some moments to clear a space and see if you can conceive of the partner again in your mind's eye as a full human being, with their real story, their suffering, their struggle, their vulnerabilities, as you might conceive that they would have as a full person, and their struggle as a person to come to the point of view that they've come to, and their willingness to sit with you in this quite intimate space and reveal themselves to you. The second phase of the experiential democracy dialogue is the background phase, and this is where each partner has a chance, about 5 minutes, to talk about what it was like for them to grow up in the context of the issue at hand. And that issue at hand is one's allegiance to either a third-party candidate or a Democrat candidate for 2024. So obviously, this tension was not directly replicated in one's background, but one can talk about how their parents, their culture, may have viewed their respective allegiances with the Democrat candidate or the third-party candidate, and with the opinions of those respective candidates. So basically, we're asking people to fill out where they're coming from in their point of view before even engaging in the actual dialogue in regard to the points of view. The third phase is the taking a stance, and here is where each partner has a chance to describe as mindfully and heartfully as possible their stance in regard to align with the third-party candidate or the other partner align with the Democrat candidate, whoever that is, and their thoughts and feelings about that stance. And of course, this may well include their grave concerns about the alternative, which would be Donald Trump becoming president. It's also, as part of this phase, the listening partner then reflects back what they've heard as mindfully as possible, what they've heard in the speaking partner, and the speaking partner has a chance to then correct any gaps in what the listening partner heard in their reflection and correct those gaps. The fourth phase is the stereotypes phase. This is borrowed directly from Braver Angels. I find it extremely rich. This is where each partner has a chance to, first of all, identify the stereotypes that have been imposed against them by those negative toward them. Now, these may be stereotypes that they feel are emanating from their partner, or they're stereotypes that they feel are emanating from the culture or subculture that they're in, toward their view align with a third-party candidate or align with the Democrat candidate. And in the second part of this phase, the speaking partner then has a chance to identify the false and misleading aspects of those stereotypes. So they fill out the picture more and more of their humanness in the situation and what they actually represent in their own mind and experience, rather than the labels that have been imposed on them. The third part of this phase is the speaking partner identifying any nuggets of truth to the stereotypes. This is often quite challenging for people, understandably, because you're really becoming quite vulnerable by exposing potential problems with your point of view, potential areas that your critics are right about. But it also opens you more, it humbles you more to your partner on the other side, to be able to relate to you and see that you may be open to flaws, to vulnerabilities that can help deepen the dialogue and the possibilities for achieving some kind of common ground. The fifth phase is the asking a question phase. And again, what is critical here is coming from a place of genuine curiosity rather than presumption or imposition of a view, like having an answer in your question, which so often happens in these kind of dialogues. And they need to be challenged. So in asking a question, you might, for example, one partner might say that, given that such and such happened at such and such a place and time, I'm really wondering, how is it that you support a candidate who agreed with what happened at such and such a place and time? Really wondering about that and curious. That's very different than saying, how could you have a point of view like that given what happened at that place and time? Final phase is the discovery results phase. And this is a chance for both partners to take concerted time to reflect on, what did you learn? What did you learn about yourself and your own point of view and how you hold it? And what did you learn about the other and the other side and your relationship with the other? And based on that, do you find any room for potential or actual common ground here with the partner? Maybe not even on policy per se, but on other conditions that could lend themselves to further dialogue and negotiation on policy and the potential for converging on points of view. What I've often found in these situations is that I don't necessarily converge on policy, but I do find myself feeling often a lot friendlier toward this other person and seeing them more as a whole human being than I saw them before in my immediate fear-based reactivity. And that helps create conditions that enhance the likelihood of us being able to negotiate and come up with common ground. And in fact, this is what the research has shown, especially from Braver Angels, that post-workshop attendees, they've done over 1,800 participants in these surveys. Post-workshop attendees overridingly feel less angry toward the other, and representing the other side, less estranged toward the other, a more understood and understanding of the other as a result of these kind of dialogue processes. So with that said, I want to offer the possibility that I would facilitate such an experiential democracy dialogue with you all, if that's something that you're interested in. And I also want to mention, if you do try these phases out on your own, it's critical, again, that you look at the videos I mentioned at the Core of Depth Healers YouTube channel. There's one on racism, one on Donald Trump, that will give you more of the latest version of this dialogue format. And I recommend that you read the book, The Depolarizing of America, for more background. With that, I thank you for your time, and I strongly hope that this video will be of some service for you all. Thank you.